The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark.
Glory to you, O Lord.
As Jesus was leaving Jericho with his disciples and a sizable crowd, Bartimaeus, a blind man, the son of Timaeus, sat by the roadside begging. On hearing that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to cry out and say, "Jesus, son of David, have pity on me." And many rebuked him, telling him to be silent. But he kept calling out on the more, "Son of David, have pity on me." Jesus stopped and said, "Call him." So they called the blind man, saying to him, "Take courage, get up, Jesus is calling you." He drew aside his cloak, sprang up, and came to Jesus. Jesus said to him in reply, "What do you want me to do for you?" The blind man replied to him, "Master, I want to see." Jesus told him, "Go your way, your faith has saved you." Immediately he received his sight and followed him on the way. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
My dear brothers and sisters, the scriptures has been proclaimed to you from the Notre Dame Basilica, the Cathedral of the Church in Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City, on Sunday, 24th October 2021, the 30th Sunday in liturgical calendar on which the Church celebrates World Mission Day. The mission of the Church differs from any company, enterprise, business, organization, missions and values. The mission of the Church is the continuity of love from the beginning until the end God has in store for humankind. As we go to the first reading today, this excerpt is taken from the book of Jeremiah. The author presents 4 actions of God. First, deliver his people. Bring them back. Gather them. Console them and lead them. All of these verbs portrays a good father who is always working for his children. Deliver from all of devil and threatens. Gather so that no one can be excluded and left aside or behind. Bring them back to the real source of truth and life that God has created. And even when the children return to their fathers with being wounded or miserable or failures, the father console and comfort the children, heal and cure. And then God will lead us continue our journey. The continuity of God is the boundless and endless love that we all have been receiving. And we might take a look at these portraits from the book of Jeremiah through the reality of this pandemic. God saved us. Even those who have been dead by COVID, we believe God saved them as well. No one is being unsaved if one desires to be saved. In the social reality, the poor might have been crying because they need support, they need money, they need social welfare, and no one received any response from responsibility agencies. But for God, He has responded. He responded in many ways. Let us take a look at the second reading. This episode is taken from the letter to Hebrews, telling that since the beginning God has loved the world, and even though the world rejected Him, God continued to send His Son to save the world. So the mission of the church, the love of God, have been being begotten every single moment, every single day, every single person. The Son of God, Jesus Christ, is the one who leads us, the one who loves us, the one who continues to send us. The mission of the church cannot be just the religious duty for those who took the vows of obedience to the church, but for all who have been baptized. 3 days ago, on the 21st, in Rome, there was press conference that chaired by Cardinal Luis Tagle, the prefect, the head of the Congregation of Evangelization for the Peoples, of which he introduced about the World Mission Sunday, the Sunday that has some distinctions. In the past years, it has been easy for people to travel around and speak about the church. In the past, it has been very easy for people to go to different parishes and promote vocations so that we can recruit more people, young people who could dedicate their lives to serve the church with religious vows or priesthood. It has become impossible for many countries and regions around the world because of pandemic. But nothing can refrain us from spreading the good news. Nothing can restrict us from being encountered with people and with God. So at that press conference, Cardinal Tagle affirms that the mission of the church, of course, is sharing the good news, but it must be the story from every individual Christian. Not just give them the book to read, but let people read from our lives. The way we live, the way we interact with people, and the way we conduct our life would help people to see God. And continues, he said, if each of us have met God through the sacraments and through the Gospels, we, each person who has been baptized, has to be a person of open and interactive. The Gospel enables us to meet people, not to close ourselves. Have we met people? Have we tried to go out to reach people, greet them, dialogue with them, receive them regardless of differences. The gospel tells us the story where a blind man got his sight. This is very unique, even though in the synoptic gospel tells this story, but it's unique in his content of the meeting. You see with Bartimaeus in this Markan gospel, Jesus did not touch the man, but he faced the man and he asked the man to continue the journey he has begun. The same with us. God asks us, continue our work, continue our life, continue our job, continue our business, continue our volunteer plan, continue our priesthood and religious life, but with new vision. This person, Bartimaeus, for some reason, he already knew Jesus of Nazareth. And I think, and I believe strongly that he knew more than the crowd that has been surrounding Jesus. Because he proclaimed the identity, divine identity of Jesus, Son of David. And only the Son of God, only God can have pity on people. Maybe one of you, many of you got in a fight with your spouse or your loved ones, and sometimes because you made mistake, you ask for forgiveness. But the human forgiveness sometimes, or most of the times, doesn't carry the pity. People continue to remind you, remember your promise. You remember I told you that. You remember we agreed that was last time, and if you continue to do that, we're going to go separated. So the forgiveness with condition. Pity, having pity is no condition. From the depth of the heart of a human being for another human living. That must be God. So Bartimaeus already recognized the divinity of Jesus. The power, the divine power, the power from God. And only that power that Bartimaeus wanted to meet him. He has been on the roadside. That means he has been hearing people going by. He wants to go with people, but he did not dare to get up and walk because he did not know where people were going. He wanted the goodness. He wanted to be on his own. He wanted to be having attention. Nobody cares for him. People walk by his life. The only person that he wished to meet was God, Jesus. Many of you have lived in the moment of hopeless. No one could help you. You kept calling this person and that person, sent text messages and emails and messenger. No one have responded. If you experience that, have you ever thought of God? We want to meet those people whom we know. But God knows on people. If we cannot make connection with this person, God will send another one. That's the continuing love, endless love God the Father has for His children. So at this moment, Bartimaeus had only hope in Jesus. So he used all of his voice and hopeless power to call Jesus' name. Calling somebody in the scriptural text and culture is proclaiming. Therefore, the text has written clearly, Jesus, Son of David, have pity on me. Son of David is the scriptural promise. God promised from the throne of David there will be a leader who lead the people to a safe and joyful land. Calling Jesus Son of David is proclaiming the divinity of God, trusting that only Jesus could help. And because Bartimaeus, without a sight, he have seen God by his heart. If you have met a blinded mother who just delivered the first baby, you will be surprised how a blind mom could see her child beauty. From the depth of the heart of the mother. From the heart, everything is pure and beauty. Sometimes from the mind, it's a problem. So we ask God today, purify our mind, because the plan controls our sight. Ask God. The only thing we should or need to wish today is to be able to have God's vision. We knew God. We have the same status and knowledge as Bartimaeus. Maybe some of us, and sometimes most of us, are not better off. Sometimes we don't see God's vision. Sometimes we only have our own sight. We just see the materialism need for ourselves. Where is the salvific plan of God? So with that gaining vision, I would like to remind you that this message goes along with the life of the church in this year, October 2021. Some of you may notice on the news, I don't know how many of you are reading the news of the church authentically. How many of you cares for what's going on in the church worldwide? How many of you know there's the press whose name is Vatican News, where you can learn a lot of truest news about the church? Therefore, I would like to bring you back to the life of the church. Not only these local parishes, not only this community, not only your family, not only your journey, but the worldwide journey of the church. The church has begun the synod. The synod is the noun taken from Greek, together, meeting, conference. But if synod being interpreted as a verb, that means journey together. So the synods of this time will be operated for 2 years, beginning October until the year of 2023. Very long synod. And the synod is an opportunity for the whole church to recall our mission, to reflect what have been done, and to recreate in the vision of God for our future. This synod asks, not only invite, but demand the local church to re-evaluate the mission of the church at this place So I'm sure in the next few months, every community, every parish will be asked with a survey so that we can have the general answers and submit to the Holy Father. So he has the whole picture of the church worldwide. Of course, I continue to share with you when we keep going, but here I would like to tell you, the Synod is reminding us that we walk together. We have our own plan and vision, but do not forget that we need to gain God's sight so that we can see this world and this church with its newness. How the church will be after this pandemic. How the life of the church people would be after this pandemic. How the community of faith can find our way to be connected, to be encountered, to be in solidarity with one another if the world continue to have social distancing. How can we be community? Ask ourselves, during the lockdown period, during the social distancing months, how could we keep relationship with our relatives and friends? We have made all of our effort and technology to stay in touch. How have we been able to stay in touch with God? Don't ever forget that the mission of the church is to save people, to love people, and to continue what God has begun. In other words, the gospel and the scriptural readings and the life of the church today ask each of us to remember we are together saved by God, being loved by God, and being sent to bring this love to everyone, everywhere. No one is being forgotten.